Well, welcome back, everyone, to the Real Estate Show. I'm Letitia Pinjatori, and I'm very excited to introduce our next guest, who is Patrick Furlong, and he is part of the Legacy Investment Real Estate Group, which is part of KW Realty. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks, Letitia. It's great to be here, really.
Okay, and so, like I said, I make it about the guest, so whatever you'd like to talk about your business or yourself, you have the floor.
Well, I just think investment real estate is interesting. So if you're interested in investing and investments and things like that, then investment real estate can really grab your attention. And I work primarily with clients who are doing 1031 exchanges. I don't do any leasing or anything like that, and I acquire properties for clients all over the country. And the thing that's interesting about real estate is that it goes through cycles like everything does, but that's at a macro level. At a micro level, you get cycles within different property types, and you get cycles within different geographies. And as an example of that, prior to about 2015, hotels were doing the best. They had the best returns. And then apartments have become very, very, very popular, and particularly in big cities like Seattle, San Francisco, LA, and things like that, and very expensive. I mean, we're talking cap rates that are 3%. In other words, if you paid all cash, you'd get a 3% return. And what that means is that secondary markets like Fresno become more intriguing to investors because they can't get the kind of return they want. And when I'm talking about investors, I'm talking about people like you and me, but I'm also talking about endowment funds, pensions, foreign investors. All these people are involved in investment real estate. And they all find different ways to invest, and they all have kind of their preferences and things like that. And you have a number of different ways that you can invest in real estate. You don't have to just go out and buy a piece of property. You can buy REITs, real estate investment trusts, and there's publicly traded ones. You can just go to your Vanguard account or whatever and do your research, and they've been returning. The good ones have been doing very, very, very well. You can invest in private REITs, and you do that through their securities. So whoever sells that to you has to have a securities license, and generally you have to be an accredited investor, meaning you have to have a net worth of $1 million outside of the value of your home and have at least 2 years of income of $200,000 if you're single, or $300,000 if you're married. And you can invest in private partnerships and LLCs. You can invest through what's called the Delaware Statutory Trust, which is a fractional ownership type of thing. So there's lots and lots of ways for people to get involved in real estate. And like I say, my specialty is really working with people who have sold a large piece of real estate. Many times it's a farmer or rancher, and they haven't owned investment real estate before, but they can exchange into investment real estate. And I really work with them to find kind of a diversified portfolio of properties throughout the country. Because like I say, at any one time, the risk reward will be better with some type of property, or in some geography will be better than something else. Right now, the risk reward for apartments in San Francisco, I wouldn't go there with my clients. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. It's an interesting business. It kind of keeps my analytical mind sharp, I think, and I love what I do too.
I could totally relate to that because I have an analytical mind too, and I know what you're saying. It just keeps it sharp. The other thing is, I mean, I know people that are in investments, I'm sure they know what a 1031 exchange is, but just for maybe the layperson who doesn't, if you don't mind, just a little quick explanation of what that is.
Sure. There's a code in the IRS called 1031, IRS code 1031. And what that allows you to do is sell property that you've held for trade or business, so that could be a farm or a ranch, I'm talking about real property, or for investment purposes, And you can, when you sell that, if you buy another piece of property with those proceeds, you can defer the capital gains taxes and even some of the depreciation recapture and things like that. Now, there's a whole bunch of rules that apply, and you have to live within those rules. Like you have to identify your properties in 45 days, you have to close in 180 days, or when your most current tax return is due, or sooner, or whichever is first. And there's a number of other rules you have to comply with. That's why people need to talk to somebody that's knowledgeable.
Exactly.
But basically, it's a tax deferral strategy, and one of the great benefits of real estate are the tax benefits.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you for that very thorough explanation. Because it helps. I mean, I know we always, in our trades and in our professions, we always have little lingo and little acronyms, and some people don't always know what that is. But
you're right.
Right, and you're right. It is. Everything is usually tied with the IRS code, and that's why we come up with these short little names. 1031. It's like, why that number? Because that's the IRS code. So,
Yep.
But okay, and then also, well, I definitely also would like to talk to you. Some other time about some of the services that, I told you that I work for Keller Williams as well
Right.
in Visalia, but I have other things that I do, like financial services and things, which kind of would work so well with the pension and the endowment, and
Yeah.
I think we could really network and help each other
Yeah,
out.
that'd
So
be great.
I'm very excited. And again, like I said before, many times, you're welcome to come on my show Monday mornings at 11 o'clock. Live your dream. It's about
Living
you.
my dream, yeah.
Yeah, and you are, right? Because you love what you do.
Well, I'm still working.
Yeah, exactly. So that's great.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to say your number? I mean, and I know it's on the screen, but I always like people to say it if
Sure.
you want.
559-213-7767. And I have a little publication that I give people. It's called The 10 Biggest Mistakes Real Estate Investors Make. If you call my number, I'll make sure you get that pamphlet.
Oh, that sounds great. That would be very helpful.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for being on our show.
Thanks,
and
Letitia.
I look forward to talking to you again. And
Right.
yes, thank you so much. So anyway, we will go to a commercial break, and then we'll bring on the next guest.